This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, on this gray Saturday. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall experience. Car experience, that is. If you got car questions, we've got car answers, so you can give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also get a hold of the show by text at 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, the email of the week, open phones, and selecting a quality auto repair shop. How do you get a good shop and stay out of the wrong shop?
You asking me, Dave?
I am.
Well, there's a lot of ways to do it. I guess finding the good shop is a little bit harder than staying away from the bad one if you're doing your homework. I'll tell you about an experience we had recently, and it's still going on at the shop, and the woman was just in the other day, or actually yesterday, give us an update. But she had a transmission problem. She had gone to the dealer and got a price and thought it was too high. She shopped around, went and chose a transmission shop, and they were like $1,500 cheaper. So she thought, well, that's good. And I don't know how she found this particular transmission shop.
That's probably less than half of the other prices she got. $1,500 cheaper.
Yeah. It was about a third of the price, maybe. Maybe the other one was about $5,000, and she ended up spending about $3,500, which in this case is the right price. The $5,000 is really the right price for this job. It's a CVT transmission. But in any case, I don't know how she ended up at this particular transmission shop, but she largely made her decision based off the price. And she had to have done some research to find these people in the first place. So they did the job, and things kind of went wrong. She had to go back 2 or 3 times or multiple times. And at some point, she just got fed up with it. Something didn't feel right. And she came to us and just wanted an overall condition check of her vehicle. And we put it up in the air, and just some of the guys started gathering around like, holy moly, how does this happen? I mean, there was a lot of the stuff with the transmission was bolts were stripped. They were in crooked. This one in particular one has a transmission pan that you can bolt on to change the filter, I believe. I think there's 17 bolts that hold this pan up, small little 10 millimeter heads. 14 of them were stripped out and in there crooked. Motor mount bolts missing, just all kinds of problems. So we documented some of these items, and then she wanted a regular checkup, the brakes and everyday maintenance. So we made some notes for her, but we told her you really need to go back. So she went back to them and then brought it back to us for a reinspection. And what they had done is taken some like home solid core copper wiring and wrapped it around where the bolts were in crooked and tried to tighten them in. It's just a mess, and it's still leaking fluids, and they were trying to sell her more work every time. Well, I bet she wishes she would have spent the $1,500 now more and got the transmission from the dealer, which was the appropriate price. If she would have done a little more homework, there's this particular shop a lot of people in the industry know is that they're not one of the good guys. So she's now asking me for help. How do I do this? I can't go to my credit card company because I paid cash.
They always ask for that.
Yeah, the bad guys always ask for cash or give you a discount for it.
Right.
That's just a whole shady in another way. So she wants to go through the Better Business Bureau, and what should she do? And there's a process that the Better Business Bureau has to go through this. But more importantly than that, had she gone to the Better Business Bureau in the first place, she would have found that this shop has an F rating. Wow.
I don't know if I would have gone there.
She probably wouldn't have. And we had a discussion, kind of jokingly, at least she can laugh a little bit right now. And she said yesterday, gosh, hindsight is always 20/20. That $1,500 is a bargain right now.
Yeah, for what she got. She got a transmission that was shoehorned into her car, and it was built with a hatchet.
Yeah, right. Modified with one.
Well, so what are the resources that are out there to pick a good auto repair shop? You've gotten to know us every Saturday, and maybe you like what we talk about and how we, the shops that we congregate with, Bumper to Bumper Radio. Those are guys who are independents who have been in the industry. If you got a great shop, don't come to a Bumper to Bumper shop. Just stick with them. But if you are out there looking for a shop, Bumper to Bumper Radio is a good resource for finding a good shop. But you mentioned the BBB, Matt. That's an excellent resource. It's
a good sift. It's a good filter, right?
It's a good filter, and you kind of have to go, to all these things if you're looking to go put together a relationship with somebody. So the BBB is a resource. Bumper to Bumper Radio is a resource. And then there's the online reviews. And online reviews are, have mixed emotions about them because they are, you can pick up maybe patterns if you look at the reviews. But I notice in the auto repair industry, they're either 1-star or 5-star. There's no in between. There's no indifferent. People aren't indifferent about the service. So to me, it's like, well, I got to take the great ones, I got to take the bad ones, and I got to average them out for myself. But there is some gaming that goes on in the review business. Last week, man, the guy had no reviews and they were bad, and now he's got 30 reviews and they're all great, and what's going on over there? So, there's a certain amount of gaming, or I've heard of guys that worked at shops where they got a bad review online, so their boss, before the end of the day, says, you all got to go home and you all got to get as many email accounts as you can and write us as many good reviews as you can to bury this review. And that happens. It really happens.
It's funny. You can read some of those reviews, and you can tell. At least I think I can. You can tell. I think I can tell when they're written by people that they use words. They use keywords that an industry person would use. They're not consumer words. You can just tell by the feeling of them. And of course, we want our customers to write us reviews when they have a good experience. One thing we ask our customers oftentimes, if you can't write us a good review, please tell us why and let us do what we can do so that you're able to. And a lot of people I don't write reviews. I don't really write bad reviews. I don't write good reviews typically.
A lot of people don't have time to write reviews. Now, if somebody really ticks you off, you might think twice about it. You're like, all right, those guys a review, man. They get a piece of my mind.
Well, and you're right.
So that's the hard part, is that generally the people that go write reviews are the people that, I'm going to take, I'm really upset. So I'm going to take the time to write a bad review and let these people know how I feel. So I see that happening. That's where we get the 1-star reviews. Now the shops know that those are the only people that generally write reviews are going to take the time to do it, are the people that are upset. So now we have to ask all the good customers, the people that are really happy and they're happy. Hey, go write us a review. So we're, you can almost see shops begging for good reviews. The ones who aren't gaming it and going home and typing their own reviews. There's some people, I couldn't imagine doing that.
Well, and sometimes we live and die by them. Use Yelp, for example. A lot of people don't like. I've seen these I hate Yelp stickers and stuff like that, and my feelings are mixed at times. I think Yelp is a different kind of generation of people, so they need to be handled and just treated a little bit differently than you might treat another segment of the population. But it's real. It's real emotion at times, and one thing that I think you can see these patterns reviews, you see the 5-star. You almost have to throw out a couple of the good ones, throw out the bad ones. But I want to know how you react. How does the shop go in and respond to the bad reviews, and do they make sense? A friend of mine's a hairstylist, and he's got a shop, and he gets these bad reviews, and he said something to me the other day. He's like, "We're not in the in the screw you business. We're in the service business. We want to take.
It's never good for us to have something go wrong.
We want to take care of you, so we didn't open up the doors." Well, some people might do this, but we didn't open up the doors and say, who can we take advantage of today? Or let's just talk about service. We're there to provide a service, and we want to do that, and we want to have more people just like you come back and be happy. So we're really there. So when you see some of these reviews that are just crazy, maybe you've got to discount them. But there's a website called Kudzu. I don't think it's real strong anymore. It was 7 or 8 years ago. It was from Cox Cable or something like that. And I don't think they're really relevant anymore. But we started getting reviews on there, and I had a really bad one. But I responded. And I would tell people who would call me and say, oh, I saw your bad review. I feel really down. It would take the wind out of my sails. And they say, but I really like how you responded. So it's sometimes it's a good measure. The measure of how good you are is how you are when things go wrong.
Well, you realize I get probably 2 phone calls a week from somebody who's going to take care of those bad reviews. Hey, Dave, you can sign me up, and pay me, and then I'll take care of any negative reviews that are out there. There's services that do that, and I don't know. Maybe they know somebody at Yelp, or I don't. How do they do that?
Well, you get those calls. They're just marketing companies. They're soliciting, and they know the ins and outs of all the rules of posting, that the bylaws, if you will, and so they'll go pick out the part and find out that it's a violation of the terms and conditions of writing a review. So that I think that's how they go pull them down. So
it's online reputation management companies.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have questions, you want to talk about a review, we're here to help you with your car, whatever you need, at 602-277-5827. You can text with us at 411-923, and we'll be right back.
Hot Rod season is back at the Good Guys 6th Spring Nationals Car Show, presented by Brown's Classic Autos at Westworld in Scottsdale, March 13th to the 15th. Spend 3 days in horsepower heaven with the Good Guys. Check out over 2,500 classic American vehicles at our giant show and shine. Visit vendor exhibits, shop the swap meet, and the Cars for Sale Corral. Plus, enjoy free fun stuff for the kids. For tickets and details, visit good-guys.com. Good Guys, full throttle fun.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Alrighty, welcome back to Bumper Radio on this gloomy Saturday. I kind of like it though, Dave. It's just nice and cool out.
Seattle-ish.
Yeah, exactly. So we are here to help you with your car every weekend at 11. So please give us a call, 602-277-5827. And again, you can text us at 411-923. But don't be shy. Just call. And we've got Richard on the line in North Phoenix. He has got a 1988 Corvette. And I got to reach for my phone, Dave.
Never prepared.
I know. Richard, what's going on with your Corvette? How can we help you today?
Wrong one there, Matt.
Oh, it sure is. What did I do, Dave?
Hit the one on the left side.
Yeah, 88 Corvette that's only driven 1,000 miles a year, that has 107,000. All of a sudden, it only shifts first and second, and then it just keeps slipping and does not go into third or fourth.
Dave, we missed you at the very beginning there, Richard. So the car doesn't get driven much, only about 1,000 miles a year, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think what you got going on in a 1988 Corvette is going to be a 700 R4 transmission. So it sounds like to me first gear's fine, second gear's fine. When it goes to shift to third, it just goes, nothing really happens, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what that's going to be is going to be a failed 3/4 clutch. So one of the weak spots in that transmission is going to be the 3/4 clutch, and it's a pretty typical thing. Sometimes there's transmission problems, and sometimes there's transmission control problems. This happens to be a transmission problem, so there's not going to be there much to do. Quick fixes or patches or shmooey oil you can pour into it that's going to fix it and make it go to work. So thanks for the call, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Matt, I'm looking at this text. I'm having a hard time digesting it from Rocky. He looks like he's got a 97 Ford F-350 dually, single cab, 12-foot bed on it. It looks like it was a U-Haul truck at some point. But it looks like his back, the running lights aren't working unless he's in reverse. Is that what you're reading?
Yeah, there's something going on. I mean, it's confusing for a couple reasons because it's just confusing, but the text messages are broken up into three and they're not in order. But lighting problems like that, those goofy problems when they work in some conditions and they don't work in others, usually go back to a ground wire. I had tow trucks at one point, and they've got to be wired just right. You add on all these different bedside lights and extra brake lights and maybe higher amperage draw reverse lights, and the switches on the car really aren't made to handle all that amp draw. So a lot of times those are wired into a relay. So you could have a bad relay, you could have a bad ground wire somewhere. So I'd be looking around at the tail, around the tail lights, around those light housings. I don't know if it's a multiple unit light or if it's got like individual round lights on the back. I bet those have a common ground. So you want to go clean those up, make sure that the bed frame to the truck frame, should be a ground strap there. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. Light switches could be bad, could just be goofy turn signal. I mean, all kinds of things can cause weird brake light problems.
Well, you can send your text at 411-923. Thanks for that, Rocky. Looks like we're going to go with Johnny, it looks like. Or Jenny.
We're all over the place, Dave. We can't see
in Phoenix on a 2004 Explorer. I think I need glasses.
You want to borrow mine?
I'm going to have to give in.
But Jenny, what can we do for you?
Hi, yes, Jenny. I'm having a problem, and I realized that it happens when I turn my heater on or my air conditioner. All of a sudden, I'll be driving, there'll be this click noise, the engine will, surge, and then it, jumps forward.
When you turn the heater on, though, do you have the air conditioning button on when you still turn the heater on, or does it even happen in defrost as well?
No, it's either the heater or the air conditioner, because I have such an old car, and I was told that even in the winter, sometimes you should run the air conditioner. So I just happened to notice when I turned the air conditioner on, that same problem happened as well. But definitely it happens when I turn the heater on.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking is that when you turn on the heater, I know I have an Excursion, and when that heater is on, oftentimes the air conditioner button is on too. And we'll run the air conditioner with the heat because we're still trying to dry the air. That's why I asked you about the defrost mode. It will actually engage the air conditioning compressor to pull the moisture out of the air. So if that click is coming from under the hood, I suspect what you're hearing is the air conditioner compressor engage. Maybe it's low on charge and it's not putting enough of a load on the engine, but when you engage the air conditioner, it's going to send a signal back to the computer, and it basically says, hey, I'm on. The air conditioner's on. I'm going to load down the engine some, so increase the idle a little bit. And that could be what's happening. Even if that compressor's not engaging and you turn on the compressor button, the computer still knows it's being turned on. It doesn't know that the ACs may or may not be working. It's going to increase that idle and cause it to surge. And if it's low on pressure, where it's cycling on, off, you also may get that surge. Surge on, surge off, surge on, surge off. So I would be looking at that if that was in the shop, it'd probably be an easy way to determine where the noise is. I bet that's that compressor going clank, that magnetic clutch pulling together and coming on.
I think
Dave?
I'm on the same page. Is that the AC is really on, even though we're in heat mode. It's still coming on, and I used to wonder that back in the day. Why the heck I turn the defroster on and I can hear the air conditioning compressor running? Well, we're drying the air out to get the air dry in the cab to get the fog off the windows.
Now, another thing not to be confused with, which we've had a lot of calls about in the past, is you get the clicking noise from underneath the dash. Now, that's not the air conditioning compressor. That's typically going to be the blend door or a mode door where it's mixing the hot air and the cold air to come with the temperature you want, or it's deciding whether it wants to go to the floor, to the vents, or to the defrost. Totally different noise.
For sure. Now, going back to Richard's first phone call in this segment with the transmission problem, because I don't know if we answered it. Basically, his transmission had failed, and there was going to be no quick fixes or patches, so he needs to go down that road of finding a good transmission shop to get his transmission addressed. In 1988, I think he said it had 110,000 miles on it. That is for that transmission. Age sometimes is worse than mileage. So the car's only been gone 110,000 miles. How could I have a transmission issue? Got a bunch of rubber seals in there sitting in ATF fluid, which is petroleum based, and over all the years, that stuff just deteriorates with time. It just rots from the inside.
Would that thing have maybe had a symptom where it's that delayed shift in the morning when it's cold from the seals hardening or anything? You put it in gear, and it just waits, and then maybe 5 seconds later it finally clunk, and it goes in gear. That's a different?
I would say it'd be a little different, but sometimes people say, my transmission in the morning acts really funky, But then once things warm up, and what you're referring to is like a hard seal, and those seals get hard, over time. And what happens is when the vehicle's cold, the seals aren't real pliable, and as it warms up, those drums start to seal better. So,
all right. Well, we've got room for more calls. 602-277-5827. I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys every Saturday from 11 to noon. You can also reach us during the week at bumpertobumperradio.com. You can email us there. We're not going to email you right back, but we'll throw your comments up, as show topics for future shows. And if you are looking for a good shop, you can send us an email there as well. There's a list of 20, 25 great shops on there where you can be safe. You don't have to worry about anyone flogging you. And there's no, these are good shops where people do the right thing, independently owned shops, people that I would gladly send my mother to tomorrow. That's bumpertobumperradio.com. Well, we've got Mike, Alex, George, Pete, and Matt, and not necessarily in that order, but we're going to go with, looks like Mike in Phoenix in a 2004 GMC. How can we help you today, Mike?
Hey, good morning, guys. I got this 2004 Top Kick. It's a 5500 series truck. It's got the Duramax and the Allison transmission. I've replaced the stepper gear in the speedo head, and I've replaced the 3 speed sensors. But you drive the truck at 35 miles an hour, and the speedo shows 85, so it won't go any faster than 35. What causes the speedo to show 85 when you're only doing 35?
Drinking.
Oh, boy, Dave, here we go down that road again. Well, there's a couple ways in the shop that we're going to look at this. That speedometer or that instrument cluster is it's being told how fast to spin the little motor. There's a motor in there that puts that needle where it wants to be, and it relies on a signal from the transmission and from the computer, whether it's the body control module or the PCM, the powertrain control module. It's not coming out right.
No, it isn't.
I don't know. Maybe it's cloudy weather to get us all.
But you're gonna look at the scanner data. In other words, what is the computer being told about how fast the vehicle is going, and then you're gonna say, hey, does that match what the cluster is telling me? And I'm thinking we got a cluster issue. I'm thinking we got everything. We know we got good speed sensors in it, and we know we're not going 85 miles an hour. We're going 35 miles an hour, or vice versa, whatever he was saying. But I think we got a cluster issue. That's the direction I'm going.
Yeah, and those clusters can be rebuilt, but it's going to be something probably fairly simple. On the surface, it's one or two things typically, unless there's a problem in there with wiring or something goofy going on. And again, like the guy with the turn signal problem and the lights, ground wires can cause weird things. It just needs to get into a shop that works on those kind of trucks. They've got to have a scan tool, and it'll probably be fairly simple to figure it out.
Thanks so much for the call, Mike. 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Alex in Levine on a Toyota Camry. How can we help you, Alex? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is a 94 Camry with a 2.2-liter engine, and it has 279,000 miles on it. And this is a car that my son drives to work all the time. So when he was coming home from work one night, he just got off the freeway, and he got on the city streets, and all of a sudden the car started making machine gun sound, like hammering sound on top of the engine, and then so he pulled into a parking lot and shut it off, and then tried to start it again. It won't start. I was just wondering what that machine gun sound would have cost.
Sounds to me like we probably had a catastrophic failure of the engine. That machine gun sound was probably the valve train or the the crankshaft bearings just rattling. If you rev the engine, it just probably let go. I mean, 250,000+ miles in that neighborhood wouldn't be something I would think would be an unreasonable to suspect. But noises, we have a couple text messages about noises. They are so hard. You've got to really hear them.
If you're calling with a noise, you got to plan on making that noise on air, because I wanted to hear him make a machine gun noise. What does that sound like?
Yeah.
But that was the picture. I did get the picture machine gun noise. I was thinking, man, we threw a rod or something came apart.
Probably had a catastrophic failure. The other thing, now you're talking about a car. I understand it's your son's car. This car maybe not have the value in it now, what it's going to cost to put a used engine in there. And we go back to shopping and finding a good shop. An engine replacement is one of those jobs that we see people get sucked in all the time.
All the time.
It's $1,500, and then once they get then they're going to go buy the used engine, and then they call you back and say, "Oh, well, you've got to reseal it, you've got to do all this, and if you don't have a warranty." Then you thought you were going to spend $1,500. You end up spending $3,500, which was the cost of from the shop that you walked out of the first time because you thought it was too expensive. And there is a tipping point on a car like this, so be careful when you go to get it when you go shopping around for a repair.
Well, on these big items, this is where I see people get hurt the most. Is on the transmission or on the engine or the. It's kind of like they think it's a commodity item. Well, how much for your engine? Well, how much for your engine? And there's so much subjectivity in the way these things get fixed. And there's some people that are professional at getting into your wallet and not giving you much. And they're very good at it. And they all, what does a snake oil salesman look like? We don't know, right?
True.
So you do got to do your homework up front, and the BBB is a great resource. Bumper to Bumper Radio is a great resource. You can certainly look at reviews, and in the reviews you're looking for patterns, but it's not your catch-all for the problems. So there's a lot of things to go on, but definitely do your research. So we're going to go with, looks like Pete in Phoenix. Looks like he's got a 2000 Crown Victoria. What can we help you with, Pete?
Hey, guys. I've got a 2007 Ford Crown Vic. It's the Police Interceptor, and it rides like a dream. I'm not really having any motor issues with it. What I'm having is I decided I wanted to trade it in and maybe get an SUV, whatever. But anyway, the guy calls me back after getting all the information. He said that there's been a rollback on it. And sure enough, I checked my title, and it says 180,000 miles, while my odometer says 121,000. How can I rectify this? How is it legal?
So you bought it with the odometer rolled back, you think, as well?
Evidently, but I took it in for inspection, and I figured that would have showed up there, but there was no mention of it. It passed. There wasn't any problems.
So you want to get a different car, and you want to know how to remedy this odometer thing,
Well, it almost seemed like the guy had seen this rollback. He was just a salesman at at whatever place I was going to trade in the car, and he said, "Yeah, there's a rollback on title. Do you know anything about that?" And then he just kind of went on with the conversation. He didn't make it sound like any big deal, but I subsequently checked the title, and there's a big difference.
Well, I don't know, Dave. I mean, I guess I would start by calling the DMV or MVD and ask them what to do. And to the extent that you really need to remedy the problem, I don't know. It's just maybe you just acknowledge it when you're selling the car and advertising it. But I guess what you would do is maybe go find out what was on the car when you bought it. You probably have some documentation. You have some documentation now on what the current mileage is or what you believe it to be, and that's going to be X miles. Call it 30,000 miles. And then I guess you'd have to go back to the time where it was rolled back, and you're going to have to add some miles back to it to get it close. But I don't know that anybody will sign up and put their name on that and saying that that's the accurate mileage. I think you're just going to have to work out a plan or a program so that you're able to explain it the next time somebody asks.
And that's one of the things that Carfax, I think, is good for is, Carfax, you're going to buy a used car. I mean, there's a whole show on how do you go buy a car, and we're going to talk about that at some point. But Carfax is a good sift for stuff like that because you get to see the mileage intervals and when in for inspection or emissions, or in a lot of auto shops they report the auto repairs to Carfax, and that's becoming more and more common. So a car you're looking at went into the service shop. Well, that service shop probably, or I'm seeing it more and more if they're real automated, is reporting to Carfax, and you can see those mileage intervals, and it's like, what happened to that 50,000 miles?
Dave, we get a lot of questions about that. It's one of the most common questions in emails is how do we know what kind of car should I buy? How do I go about selling my old car? How do I find a good used car? How do I get the financing? So we're going to work on putting together a show like that. So we need a favor. If you would go to Bumper Radio and send us an email, tell us about your good car buying experiences. Tell us about your bad car buying experience. Tell us what you're afraid of. Do you hate sitting in the office? Do you hate getting the extended warranty jammed down your throat? Do you hate dealing with a slick sales guy that's got to go, back and forth to the manager? Send us some emails and tell us all about your experiences, and we'll put that together, and we will dedicate an entire show to helping you find a new car, a used car, how to go through that process, how to protect yourself and do it in your comfort zone.
Well, I've got an email here from Sharon, and she's got a 2001 Mustang GT with 200,000 miles on it. And she gave me a list of things she needs: a new intake manifold, power steering hose, to the Hydro Boost, power steering flush, brake system Hydro Boost leaking. I also love this car, but I'm wondering at what point do I punt? What point does it become fruitless to keep fixing this car? On the other hand, I love this car. I don't know that I don't want to change cars. So what do I do? So, Matt, what point for Sharon does she decide to punt this car? I mean, intake manifold on a 4.6 is probably that's pretty common repair, and a power steering hose from here.
There's so many different variables. Maybe you go get a second opinion. If you're very comfortable with the shop that you're at, if you're not an orphan and this is the first time you've been to that shop, and even if it is, sit down with them and vet this out. Let them know the life cycle of the car, where you are with it. Maybe it's got to do with your finances. Maybe you can't take on another loan, or you simply don't want to take on a loan and you really like this car. You say it, Dave, I heard it from you. Don't fix a $3,000 problem with a $25,000 new car.
Right.
And the other thing you say, were you shopping for a new car before you had this problem? Well, if you weren't, take some time. None of those things on that list sound like they're
exciting.
They're going to leave you on the side of the road, though. That's my point. So go have a conversation. Maybe go get a second opinion. Get the pin out. And then maybe get a whole entire inspection. It sounds like somebody went through that car pretty thorough, but then, we don't have a crystal ball, but let's see what it looks like 2 years from now.
That's where I like your comprehensive vehicle evaluation. We don't want to just look at the obvious things. So I'm looking at it, I see a little bit of coolant coming out of the intake manifold, or I see a power steering hose starting to leak or seep. Okay, those are some things, but how does the rest of the car, what do the brakes look like?
Yeah.
What does the oil look like? So when we come back, we're taking your calls at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs, over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. Dave, I thought you were bringing us back to talk to everybody. I see you over there just looking down at your papers. I don't know.
I know I'm not going to be here next week, and I wanted to get you warmed up.
Yeah, maybe it'd be better if we both weren't here. We need a break. It's this, there's some sun coming through. I see some blue skies out the window here, so I'm starting to lift my mood a little bit.
Well, you are going to want to tune in next week, even though I won't be here, so it's really not worth it that much. But if you're in the market for tires or just want to know more about tires, we're going to have the guys from S&S Tire in talking tires with us, and it's always a good conversation. You're going to need a set every 30 to 50,000 miles, so come join Matt, not me, and learn something about tires.
Yes, and speaking of Matts, we've got a very, very patient Matt that's been holding a long time, calling from Surprise on a Grand Cherokee. Matt, thanks for waiting and being patient. What can we help you with?
Yeah, hey guys, great show for one. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Second thing is I have a 2002 Jeep Grand Cherokee, 170,000 miles on it. We've owned it for 5 years, I guess, 5-6 years. And all of a sudden, about last summer, we noticed that the check engine light would pop on, and it would not downshift at a stoplight, or when you take off, it's like it's stuck in third. So I did a little Google Gnostics.
Oh, yeah.
They tell you to turn off and on the key 3 times on this thing, and it flashes a code on the dash, which is a P0700, which I guess is a generic code for transmission issue. Took it to a local shop that I trust and have dealt with. He's actually a personal friend. Says that there's a solenoid pack inside the transmission that needs to be replaced, but could also be the control module that's under the hood.
What motor's in there? Is that a 4-liter?
4.7.
4.7. So you have the 545 RFE train.
Yep.
Okay. So, yes, basically what it is, P0700, you're only going to find that in the main module. So that P0700, the definition of that points you over to the transmission control module. So we got to go over to the transmission control module and see what the more definition code is. And you're going to see a few things. There's generally it may tell you, hey, we've got a shorted solenoid. Well, those are easier to diagnose. Hey, we just got a known bad problem. We just test that solenoid, and if it's shorted or if it's open, hey, we put a new solenoid pack in it, and that takes care of the problem and maybe service it at that time. Now, one thing that can happen is solenoids can fail because the transmission is failing. So if the transmission is failing and it's gobbling up metal on the inside, it will foul up the solenoids. But also, it's not uncommon. That is a very good transmission, and the solenoid pack is what I would consider a pattern failure. In other words, we do them all the time on a 545 RFE.
Very good. Well, Dave, we had a gentleman that we took the call off air because he didn't necessarily want to answer his question on air. And he said, where can I find a good transmission shop? And he gave me his cross streets. Well, you're not near there, and you're the transmission shop of Bumper to Bumper Radio. But the transmission is one of those items. It's a big item. And it's worth making a drive to go find that. I mean, maybe the car doesn't drive and it needs to be towed. Maybe there's, it's just worth it. That is a big item, and it's worth going out and finding and maybe spending a little bit extra money. And then we got these Mike and Whining clowns standing
pressed
outside.
hands on the window.
Standing
My
outside
goodness.
the window. They're really trying to goof us up, and we're kind of off in La La Land today anyway. And we got to see Mr. Mike and Whiny out there, giving us funny faces and lifting up their shirts, and but they're having fun. And speaking of which, they're coming up after us today, and I think it's going to be a really fun show. It sounds like those guys are in a heck of a mood today. So stay tuned for Mike and Whiny coming up.
Hey, one thing I do want to comment about transmissions, it's kind of a black magic to most people in our industry. Even Matt would admit it. He oh no, they came in the studio. He doesn't know much about them. He knows some basics, and he'll call me up and say, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? And because of the black magic, there's been a lot of tricksters in the business for a lot of years. And so that's one, you definitely want to do your homework so you don't end up at a trickster shop where they're going to make it painful and take more money than they should be taking from you and not tell you the truth.
Dave, I think things are going to head south real fast. Mr. Mike and Whiny just popped into the studio, flailing for Bree to get the mics turned on.
I can turn my own mics on. I know how to do that.
I've got a little black magic for you, boys.
Now,
easy.
Is today the day?
Today's the day.
Today's it.
Today's the day.
Today's the day. Today is the last
Mike and Whiny.
Mike and Whiny noon to 2.
show.
That's
Wow.
right. Yeah.
So,
it happens today.
You guys have had a heck of a run, haven't you? From
Well,
where
we're
you
not
started?
dying. Let's not
Are you guys gonna
write
quit,
the obituary
you're gonna quit
right now.
talking or what? I'm not talking to you anymore. We're not going on air anymore.
Let's take a call. I want to talk about cars.
You want to try and help
Yeah.
somebody? Good Lord, who is up for this? I
That's
don't know.
pretty much my advice to you is to sell and go out and buy a new car.
Wow.
Get out of here. All right, be gentle. We're going to
Okay.
take Joanne in Mesa, and she's got a Honda Civic. Joanne, I'm going to apologize in advance.
That's okay. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Joanne, what's the problem with your car? What type of car do you have?
Well, it's a Honda Civic. It's a 2004, and I have no problems with it at all. It's got 160,000 miles on it.
Nice.
And the only thing is that when I turn the car on, my temperature gauge goes automatically up to just a little below the halfway mark.
That means it's getting warm fast.
Well, I took it into the fellow that's been taking care of the car all these years, and he can't figure out why it's doing that. I mean, it never goes above that.
Now, when you say the fella, are you talking about the dealership? Are you taking it into, or are you taking it
No, I
to a
don't
local
take it
shop?
I take it to a local shop here in Mesa.
Now,
okay.
Joanne, I don't know if you heard when we came right before we took your call, but this is Mike and Whiny, the comedians that are trying to
Not
answer.
comedians. I'm asking a serious question here. I want to know where she's taking her car. I want to help her out.
Oh, you want to know where?
No.
We're not going to get names. I just wanted to see if you were taking it to a shop or a dealership. That's all.
I'm not taking it to the dealership.
Okay,
all
right.
I have never taken it to the dealership.
So, Joanne, let me just shut these fellas up here if I could. I'm giving them the hand right now.
Okay.
So you turn your car on and immediately the gauge goes to halfway, and you
Not quite halfway, just a little below, and it stays there. Even when I drive like down to Tucson, it never goes above that.
And that is about the normal position. Most gauges will run right about in the middle when everything's right. But especially the gas gauge, when it's down at the bottom, you got problems. But is it happening right away when you turn the car on? In other words, within the first couple seconds, there's something going on there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't have to even drive it.
Yeah, it's in a fixed position is what's happening. And basically what happens, there's a coolant temperature sensor that's going to send a signal or a variable voltage up to the gauge, to the temperature gauge. And as the car gets hotter, obviously it's going to change the resistance of the sensor and put the gauge in the position it wants to. It sounds like that sensor just isn't working. It's broken. Maybe there's a wire shorting, or maybe the gauge itself is bad. That's just the temperature gauge of the dash. Probably not a really difficult repair. Very simple to do the testing and the diagnosis.
Is that what you were thinking, Mike?
Wow. Virginia Auto and Tri-City Transmission. These guys know what they're doing right here. These guys get it.
Yeah, when my car's
They
not
understand.
working properly, I just pretty much start talking dirty to it.
Yeah.
That seems to fix it.
You just got to rub it on the center of the dash.
So, guys, what's
I guess the temperature gauge spiking, though.
What's coming up with the Mike
Llama
and Wayne
drama.
ship?
You guys want to talk about llama drama?
That's all over
Come
the
on,
place.
let's talk. You guys stay here. We'll talk about llama
It
drama.
had to be a slow
Let's do
news
it.
cycle. So, are we recapping all the Mike and Whinies from over the years?
No,
or
we're
what's
just going to
going
talk
on?
llama drama. Come on, you guys come with us.
For 2 hours.
We'll see you next week.
2
We're
hours of
talking
llama.
about tires on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
That's it.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hot Rod season is back at the Good Guys 6th Spring Nationals Car Show presented by Brown's Classic Autos at Westworld in Scottsdale, March 13th to the 15th. Spend 3 days in horsepower heaven with the Good Guys. Check out over 2,500 classic American vehicles at our giant show and shine. Visit vendor exhibits, shop the swap meet, and the Cars for Sale Corral. Plus, enjoy free fun stuff for the kids. For tickets and details, visit good-guys.com. Good Guys, full throttle fun.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
The local part of your smartphone? It's the KTAR app. Where else can you get local news, traffic, weather, and sports wherever you happen to be? Download yours in the Google Play Store or in the Apple App Store.
KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app. Join us for everything automotive on Bumper to Bumper Radio with Dave Riccio and Matt Allen, the KTAR Car Guys, every Saturday, 11 to noon on KTAR News 92.3 FM. Winter is finally here. Is your car ready? Whether it's snow up north, rain in the valley, or 75 degrees, Dave and Matt got you covered. And remember, 24/7, there's bumpertobumperradio.com. It's a must for the best